Now we are having the next speaker, Mr. Sarad Arora. He is the well-known personality in the IoT startup domain, and in this, I would like to mention that the embedded SIM-based tracking device, the credit goes to him for bringing this uh, uh, study of the embedded SIM and the further making its standardization in the MORTH. I visited the Joint Secretary MORTH 2 times, but Mr. Sarad Arora played a critical role while it, addressing all these issues in the MORTH as well as in TRI and the BIS. And today, this tracking device standard, that is AIS 140, it has been mandated for all commercial passenger vehicles for the safety of the passengers. So now, Mr. Arora, this floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sushilji. First and foremost, I would like to thank this panel, and it's very, very distinguished panel participants. It's my great privilege to be here with them, and also want to thank CDOT and TSDSI for what is an extremely important subject. Sushilji, thank you for your kind words. I think I would say that literally the credit of getting the industry to wake up to the reality of IoT M2M literally is yours and that of Mr. Mittal. And I also remember the time when the National Roadmap was being written and the role Mr. R.M. Agarwal played and the role that P.K. Singh Saab has played, Mr. Naren Nath has played. So this is more or less a panel in which you can look back 10 years and then look forward 10 years. But let me look forward 10 years. First, thank you very much, Sushilji, for that kind introduction. Let me check, is my screen now visible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I have a lot of benefit from the introduction that Mr. Madan provided, Sushilji provided, introduction to the 303645 and the 3 specific mandates of no default password, OTA updates, and logging of vulnerabilities, and the very, very effective, I must say, very effective treatment that Mr. Singh has just provided to the entire subject of the what is security and what is security mitigation, and that it is just a journey. It is not going to start and end. It is something that we have to live with. I'm going to try and...
Your screen is not coming.
Is it coming now?
Yeah, now it's coming. Now it's
okay. So I will spend 2 minutes in saying this, that we are very much into the IoT paradigm now, and IoT paradigm will affect everything, our private lives, our professional lives, business lives, literally every industry segment, because that which will not automate will be consigned to history, to be archived. So everything has to embrace the connected world, and the IoT technology is that revolution that is affecting this entire phenomenon. The matter that you must appreciate, and I'm sure everyone does, but it's still worth illustrating to make the point in the next few slides, is that these millions of devices, billions of devices that Mr. Singh defined to be diverse, distributed, different capabilities, and at the same time constrained in so many different ways, they are exposing their data to web services, smartphones, cloud resources. And it is not just the issue about making the data available. That's the simple thing. Connecting 20 billion, 40 billion devices. Yes, technology is evolving. Massive machine type communication is coming in. So many other standards of Wi-Fi and wireless communication are supporting the massive spread. But the challenge is how to expose this data in a controlled way. How to make sure that this exposure does not lead to data misuse and does not lead to the network misuse. And the other thing is that security experts are very, very clear that this is going to lead to a lot of mischief and chaos. So the best we can do is to not do what Mr. Singh really cautioned, not launch in a hurry, don't send out poor stuff, because these devices that will be in billions sitting in far-flung places, meters, gas pipelines, remote houses, and so on and so forth, if they are not secured properly on the day when there is a compromise, it will be chaotic. So those are the reasons why we are in this discussion today. I will try to skip this slide, but go straight into the subject by saying that this discussion that is now going to be for 15 minutes, and that will mean that I will be over by my 20 minutes, but a bit behind the overall schedule. This discussion is trying to focus on the standards and best practices, and also why some of the steps that are being taken in the direction of registration of M2M service providers, in the direction of National Trust Center, are so critical to the long-term future and the long-term security. So security, trust, trusted ICT infrastructure. I have to try in a very quick minute to connect all of you with the good old CIA security triad. The confidentiality, integrity, and authentication, that is the basis of security for communication. And then to add trust, like India did when it did the IT Act. And to add that trust in a non-repudiable manner requires some additional capability, and we will talk about that in this presentation. So the CIA triad together with trust, and then how to add beyond trust the trustworthiness. And the work done in ITU is absolutely remarkable in going into what is trustworthiness, what are the attributes of trustworthiness, and actually then looking at domains. So if you see here how beautifully they have captured that there is the physicality of things, there are sensors, there are devices, then there is the communication and ICT aspect, which is cyber, and then there is the social, and how these trust domains have to be brought forward so that ICT applications can be trusted, and how we can look at the data, information, knowledge, and wisdom to be distributed in this physical, cyber, and social world, such that there is a method for enabling the ICT infrastructure to be trustworthy itself, or to be trusted. And this is the whole purpose here: how to make the devices ecosystem trusted, how to make the applications trusted, how to know what to trust and what to call rogue. In pursuit of this, we said again, there are trust domains. There's the physical, there's the cyber, there's the social. And then we know, Mr. Singh spoke about it too, that there are well understood internal and external agents that will try to destabilize the concept of a predictable outcome, a predictable service, and that will become the rogue. Now, in making so many trust provisioning relationships, and to be able to say which one to trust, the most important point to be made is that telecoms and connectivity infrastructure together with Wi-Fi type interfaces were amongst the first and have dealt with the control aspect, which is what to trust and what not to trust, which device to allow on the network, which device not to allow on the network. So out of sheer capability development in the standards, the network domain, connectivity domain has proven to be the most appropriate domain from where the trust relationships can be started. And this is the main point about who to trust. You've seen this. On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. That's the problem. And then what to trust? If you look at the trust parameters, there are so many. And this was a discussion I was having with some senior colleagues yesterday. There is an ISO version to it. There is a GSMA version to it. There's an ETSI version to it. There's an ITU version to it. But I think the main important point is that we need to find some common parameters. So Mr. Singh said that you can't have everything because it's going to be horses for courses. It's not going to be one uniform thing, but we have to find some uniform common baseline with which we can say that something is trustworthy or something is not. That's my discussion today, which is about what is it that what imperatives can be defined that can say you are likely to control security, you're likely to control access in majority of circumstances at a great deal of success. So Sushilji said this, that there are going to be device security classes. Same thing as Mr. Singh said, that, and Mr. Madan also alluded to it, that there is going to be a need for identity. First and foremost, we must be able to say who is what, which device is of what type, what capability, for what purpose is it deployed, and as a result, what kind of authentication, what kind of KYC, and what kind of service control is required. That is critical. If we can't identify, if we cannot classify, there is no chance of implementing a framework. And then the trust framework needs to have unique identity. It needs to have keys and certificates. And as I said, we are very fortunate as a country, not only just the DOT and TEC and TRAI, but there is the trust framework, which is called the IT Act. We are one of the 9 countries with such an act. We are one of the countries that have a root CA, but we haven't used it enough. We can use it to cause a lot of misgivings and uncertainty to go away by issuing digital certificates within the country. And then, of course, there is the matching of the use case classifications with the device security level and the service security level. On top of the device, so this was all about device and app. On top of that, we need data security. Who can see what data? Who can share what data? What attributes of the data? And fortunately, again, a lot of work is going on in this country with BIS, with CDOT, with TEC. The common service layer architecture standards are already national standards. The focus, to my mind, just has to be on how to get them into practice. Very recently now, we have both the ICT and IoT reference architecture too. So there is IS 18004, which is the IoT reference architecture, and then there is ICT reference architecture. I share this because in pursuit of what can be called a controlled ecosystem, there is already, this country has done enormous amount of work with DOT, TEC, TRAI, TSDSI doing their bit, and BIS doing its bit, CDOT playing, of course, a massive role in bringing it all together. So you can see this link here. You can go to the TEC website and read through the standards that are already national standards. This is really important to say, something that Mr. Singh said, that what is critical now? What is critical is to come up with investments, that there are local test houses, trial labs, and certification labs, because this market will be built by MSMEs. And they need this most critical thing, which is to be able to test what they are making, to be able to certify it so that Make in India can go global. So standards exist. We have an extremely good methodology for certification under TEC and others, and we need to just make sure that that comes into play. From standards, we'll have to go to trust frameworks. And you will see here, this slide is trying to say something very simple, that the service provider is actually sitting in between every transaction, and the mitigation of risk and the risk itself is not going to come from one device. It's going to come from massive disturbances, and for any massive disturbance, it has to come from the internet. And sitting on and between the internet and the devices, the billions of devices, are connectivity service providers. So in reality, that role, together with the role of the controller of certification authority, to put a small certificate, a private key, in the hands of every device, and then to be able to identify that device, that is critical. That is the common denominator. If we can get that done, then I think it wouldn't matter which industry, which segment, which type of use case. If we can recognize, authenticate, and interrogate a device, I think we are literally sorted. And this might be a little bit early, but to say it this way, a service provider role in IoT ICT security, together with the support from the IT Act and Root Certification Authority, and the combination of Indian certificates and service provider enabled trust, is actually that gold mine which we are looking for. TSDSI is working on this standardization for Know Your Machine customer, guidelines as to what can be done to ensure that all type of devices, regardless of use cases, can be digitally verified. And once that is done, what we can do then is, once those methods are in, there is already a Indian-sponsored, Indian-anchored, DOT-anchored global standard now, ITU-T WIDOT 3056, which says how to bootstrap devices and apps by using the already existing mechanisms for network security, those mechanisms that haven't been compromised for 30 years, and how to use the cryptographic processes to bind the application and user's identity such that you can identify, you can control, and you can manage. Those are the important things. With that in place, and this only fell in place in February of 2021, 3 months back. With that standard in place, you actually now have a very, very cost-effective method to bootstrap, authenticate, and authorize any device and any application in an open, diverse ecosystem. You don't need a one-to-one relationship. Using public key infrastructure, using certificates, and using the authentication framework defined by WIDOT 3056, this story is completely chalked out. And this is what the story is, that you can have an open, diverse ecosystem of certified devices as per MTCTE. You can have many platforms, but if they follow the BIS IoT reference architecture, the common service layer standards, they follow the TEC1M2M standards, for which there's a link here. And then if you have in the ICT layer, the BIS ICT reference architecture, and on top of that, if you do use the Indian certificates in every one of these devices, there is the following output of it, that you get a tamper-resistant secure element that is globally unique, identifier with keys and certificates, which can be recognized as the National Trust Center and the MTCTE portal, providing you a WIDOT 3056 enabled 3GPP and non-3GPP service provider registration framework. And last thing that is weighted is the M2M service provider registration. The moment you get that done, then all certified service providers, app, and device ecosystem can exist in India. This is how we have seen it put into practice. The earliest full deployment of this architecture is what was used by Ministry of Road Transport and Highways for the Nirbhaya framework. There is a common service layer, there is secure redundant remote managed connectivity, and there is a mechanism for the application layer to do a full KYC. Full KYC meaning you recognize the device, you recognize the connection, you recognize the custodian, and all of that is stored in NIC servers. So it's the first, in my view, the first most important illustration of how IoT security can work at a national scale. And I tell you that this particular orchestration in the last 2 years has created an entire ecosystem of 200 MSMEs offering devices, applications, and IoT connectivity. I used to speak in conferences saying that standardization is a great enabler. It commonizes the big and the small. And this is what we saw in the last 2.5 years, how an entire ecosystem has developed around, orderly ecosystem has developed because a standard was created and that standard was put into the industry. There is a possibility to extend that. The National Security Secretariat can have interfaces into the National Trust Center. It can have, through that National Trust Center, interfaces into the sectoral trust centers, which can be the registry of NABH, it can be a MORTH registry, other sectoral registries. But the standards that India has built, the illustration of that with MORTH and the capability that National Trust Center can bring to a sustainable, diverse ecosystem for security is actually humongous. To my summary here, having a disproportionate share of the $1 trillion global IoT business is imperative for this country. We have seen the benefits of being the software capital of the world. After that, the BPO capital of the world. We need this. In simple terms, we need this for kickstarting the economy, which is struggling right now. We need for that a proper registration and recognition of the IoT M2M MSMEs so that you can give them a chance to be certified. You need local certification capabilities. We have all the standards we need. We need certification capabilities, test houses, technology labs, because that is what MSMEs cannot bring to the table. And that will give them the ability to develop, test, and certify IoT products and solutions which can go to global markets. Certification is required not just for products, but for services and use cases. And the use of Indian root certification infrastructure is critical for security and control. We can get the most cost-effective outputs from here between secure elements and certificates issued by root CA or root CA certified CAs. There is a possibility to make the cost go down so that no one has to cut corners. Initiatives such as preferred market access and production-linked incentives are extremely good, but they need to be monitored. They need to be monitored for implementation across industries and segments. And of course, the work that the government's doing, the SDOs, the SSOs, academic institutions, R&D institutions such as CDOT, that must continue with the industry, because this state that we are in can actually convert to a great benefit for the industry if they can all work together to create globally standard-backed, vibrant IoT device and app ecosystem in India in 2021. There's an urgency in 2021. Thank you, Sushilji. Turn it back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Saratji. Really a very informative, full of technology and mind-blowing talk. Thank you very much.